In the aftermath of World War II, as nations rebuilt and spirits yearned for exhilaration, the world witnessed the birth of a sport unlike any other: motorcycle Grand Prix racing. It was 1949 when the International Federation of Motorcycling, or simply the FIM, introduced the world to the ultimate two-wheeled challenge, known today as MotoGP. In those pioneering days, races were as much about bravery as they were about skill. Riders pushed their primitive machines through villages and mountainsides, braving treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather. Safety gear was minimal, and danger was an ever-present companion. Early legends like Britain's Leslie Graham became household names, daring riders who raced not just for victory, but for survival itself. As decades rolled on, motorcycles evolved from crude oil-dripping machines into sophisticated, roaring beasts of technology, reflecting humanity's endless quest for innovation. Two-stroke engines screamed through the decades, battling head-to-head against the precision and power of four-strokes. This engineering warfare has shaped not just the machinery, but the very fabric of the sport itself. Every era brought its heroes, fearless riders who carved their names into history with each twist of the throttle. Giacomo Agostini, Barry Sheene, Kenny Roberts, Mick Doohan, icons whose exploits transcended the track, capturing the imagination of millions worldwide. They embodied speed, skill, charisma, and above all, an unquenchable thirst for victory. But MotoGP's greatest battles weren't fought only between competitors. They were fought between humans and the limits of physics, between ambition and mortality. The sport's history is etched with moments of triumph and tragedy, a stark reminder of the high stakes riders face every time they lean into a corner at breakneck speeds. In the modern era, MotoGP has become a global spectacle, a breathtaking blend of man, machine, and cutting-edge technology. Figures like Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, and Casey Stoner elevated motorcycle racing into a riveting blend of raw talent, fierce rivalries, and electrifying drama that captivates audiences across the globe. Throughout our journey today, we'll witness the evolution of this extraordinary sport, decade by decade. From dusty roads to ultra-modern circuits, from fearless pioneers to global superstars, this is the story of MotoGP, the relentless pursuit of greatness on two wheels. So buckle up, hold tight, and prepare yourself for an incredible ride as we embark on the ultimate journey through time. 1940s, dawn of legends. The year was 1949. As the smoke of war still lingered over Europe, a wave of excitement was brewing. The International Federation of Motorcycling had decided to create something unprecedented: a world championship for motorcycle racing. This historic decision would forever change the landscape of motorsport. The first ever motorcycle Grand Prix season was short, yet spectacular, consisting of 6 races spread across Europe. Riders tackled rugged circuits with little more than leather helmets and basic gear. Safety standards were primitive, tracks were unforgiving, and every race was a gamble with fate. Yet this raw and gritty backdrop only added to the allure. British rider Leslie Graham became the standout figure in this groundbreaking season. Riding for the renowned manufacturer AJS, Graham demonstrated sheer determination and skill, navigating dangerous courses with unparalleled bravery. At the heart-stoppingly treacherous Isle of Man, a race infamous for its narrow, winding roads flanked by stone walls, Graham proved his legendary status. It was here that legends were born, and tragedy was narrowly avoided with every twist and turn. Throughout the 1949 season, the fierce rivalry between Graham and Italian racer Nello Pagani enthralled fans. Pagani, racing for Galera, pushed Graham to the limits. Their battles were not just competitions, they were thrilling duels between man, machine, and the looming shadow of disaster. With points tightly contested, the championship hung in the balance until the very last race in Monza, Italy. The Monza circuit was iconic from the start. Known for its blistering speeds and dauntingly high banking, it was a track that tested riders' courage and endurance to the utmost. On race day, the tension was palpable. thousands of spectators gathered, eager to witness history being made. Graham, demonstrating nerves of steel, seized the moment and clinched victory, becoming the very first MotoGP world champion. This inaugural season set the stage for MotoGP's thrilling narrative, shaping a sport that would grow to captivate millions. Riders like Graham and Pagani were more than competitors. They were pioneers, daring explorers charting new territory in the world of motorsport. Their courage, determination, and spirit of competition established a legacy that would endure for generations. Yet, even in triumph, the sport faced harsh realities. The lack of safety measures, combined with extreme track conditions, meant injuries and fatalities were tragically common. Early Grand Prix racing was as perilous as it was exciting, and riders competed knowing full well the risks involved. It was this blend of danger and exhilaration that drew fans to the edge of their seats, hearts pounding in anticipation. As the first decade of MotoGP came to a close, one thing was clear. The world had found a thrilling new obsession. Motorcycle Grand Prix racing had taken root, promising a future filled with speed, heroics, and relentless ambition. The 1940s laid the foundation, but the golden age of legends was just beginning. 1950s, racing into a golden age. As the calendar flipped into the 1950s, motorcycle Grand Prix racing entered a thrilling new chapter. The pioneering spirit of the 1940s set the stage. But now, a wave of innovation, competition, and passion surged forward, shaping MotoGP into the globally admired sport it would become. The decade was marked by fierce rivalries and remarkable talents that captured the imagination of fans worldwide. Among the brightest stars was British racer Jeff Duke, whose impeccable riding style and groundbreaking techniques propelled him to multiple world titles. Duke's elegant yet daring approach revolutionized motorcycle racing, bringing a new level of professionalism and discipline to the sport. Rivaling Duke was Italy's brilliant Umberto Massetti. Riding for Galera, Massetti became the first Italian MotoGP champion, igniting an enduring rivalry between British and Italian riders. This rivalry defined the era, captivating fans as it played out dramatically across Europe's most challenging circuits. Technological advancements also transformed the racing landscape in the 1950s. Motorcycle manufacturers like Gilera, MV Agusta, and Norton fiercely competed to develop faster, more powerful engines. MV Agusta, led by legendary Count Domenico Agusta, began to dominate the sport, creating motorcycles famed for their speed, reliability, and beauty. The rise of MV Agusta coincided with the emergence of a young Italian prodigy named Giacomo Agostini. Though Agostini's greatest achievements lay ahead, his early performances in the late 1950s hinted at his future dominance, marking the beginning of one of the most extraordinary careers in motorsport history. Safety, however, remained an ever-present issue. Tracks like the Isle of Man TT continued to claim lives, underscoring the stark contrast between glory and tragedy. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, crowds continued to swell, mesmerized by the bravery and skill displayed by riders who seemed to defy death at every corner. This decade also saw the globalization of MotoGP, with races increasingly drawing international attention and becoming grand spectacles filled with glamour, danger, and heroics. Media coverage expanded significantly, bringing the thrill of MotoGP into the homes of millions and setting the stage for its future status as a worldwide phenomenon. As the 1950s drew to a close, MotoGP had firmly established itself as the pinnacle of motorcycle racing. Legends had been born, technology had advanced dramatically, and the foundations were laid for future generations to push the boundaries even further. The stage was set for an era where courage met innovation, and history awaited the heroes who dared to race towards glory. 1960s, technological revolution and new icons. The 1960s ushered in a new era of revolutionary changes in motorcycle Grand Prix racing, setting the stage for an exhilarating transformation that captivated millions around the world. This decade wasn't just about speed, it was about the technological evolution of the sport, introducing advancements that would forever alter the landscape of MotoGP. At the heart of this transformation was the emergence of Japanese manufacturers, notably Honda and Yamaha, who brought groundbreaking innovations to the grid. Honda, determined to prove their engineering prowess, introduced multi-cylinder engines with remarkable performance and reliability. This marked a seismic shift in the competition, challenging European dominance and introducing a new level of sophistication to motorcycle racing. The era also saw the rise of one of the most legendary figures in MotoGP history, Giacomo Agostini. Riding for MV Agusta, Agostini became synonymous with excellence, grace, and unparalleled success. His style was meticulous, his speed unmatched, and his ability to dominate races quickly made him an icon. Throughout the decade, he amassed numerous victories and world titles, becoming the gold standard against which future champions would be measured. Meanwhile, Mike Hailwood, affectionately known as Mike the Bike, emerged as a fan favorite due to his fearless riding and charismatic personality. His epic battles with Agostini electrified audiences and defined one of the greatest rivalries in motorsport history. Their legendary duels, especially at circuits like the Isle of Man TT and Monza, kept fans on the edge of their seats. Yet, the decade wasn't without tragedy. The 1960s remained perilously dangerous, and riders continued to face tremendous risks each race. Fatalities were sadly frequent, underscoring the urgent need for improved safety measures. Tracks began undergoing modifications to mitigate risks, and protective gear saw incremental advancements, reflecting a growing awareness and responsibility toward rider safety. Beyond the track, the 1960s brought MotoGP into the international spotlight, fueled by expanding media coverage. Television broadcasts began reaching a global audience, turning top riders into international superstars and transforming races into grand spectacles that transcended the boundaries of traditional sports events. As the decade closed, MotoGP had firmly cemented itself as a global phenomenon. The 1960s laid the groundwork for further technological breakthroughs and greater safety measures, setting the stage for future generations to push the boundaries even further. It was clear that MotoGP's best days were still ahead, promising an even more thrilling journey in the decades to come. 1970s. Speed, glamour, and daring rivalries. The 1970s marked a thrilling era in MotoGP history, defined by high speeds, electrifying personalities, and an ever-growing global fan base. Motorcycle Grand Prix racing evolved dramatically during this decade, showcasing an exciting blend of technological progress and charismatic riders who transformed each race into a captivating spectacle. At the forefront of this exhilarating period was the flamboyant and charismatic British rider Barry Sheene. Known for his larger-than-life persona and fearless riding style, Sheene captured the hearts of fans worldwide, becoming MotoGP's first true international celebrity. His iconic battles against formidable opponents, notably American Kenny Roberts, brought unprecedented media attention to the sport and solidified MotoGP's place in popular culture. The rivalry between Sheene and Roberts was legendary, characterized by thrilling duels and contrasting personalities. Roberts, with his aggressive riding technique and determination, introduced an innovative riding style adapted from dirt track racing. His groundbreaking approach to cornering and throttle control set new standards, raising the competitive stakes on every circuit he tackled. Their rivalry ignited crowds, creating an intense and captivating atmosphere that drew fans closer to the action than ever before. Technological advancements also reached new heights during the 1970s. The introduction of powerful two-stroke engines revolutionized the sport, delivering explosive performance and higher speeds. Motorcycles became increasingly complex, demanding extraordinary skill and courage from riders who sought to master these potent machines. Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki joined traditional European powerhouses such as MV Agusta, intensifying competition and pushing manufacturers to innovate continually. This decade was not without its challenges, however. Despite improvements in equipment and racing conditions, safety remained a critical issue. tragedies continued to cast shadows over the sport, reminding fans and riders alike of the risks involved. Major incidents sparked debates and incremental improvements in safety standards, paving the way for more significant changes in subsequent decades. Beyond the racetrack, the 1970s were marked by increasing commercialization and media exposure. MotoGP races became glamorous events, attracting celebrities and passionate spectators from around the globe. Television coverage expanded, bringing races into millions of homes and turning top riders into household names. Speed, glamour, and intense rivalries defined an unforgettable era that laid the foundation for the modern sport. The stage was set for an even greater expansion of global popularity, technological innovation, and legendary rivalries, promising fans decades of breathtaking moments to come. 1980s, era of dominance and American heroes. The 1980s brought MotoGP into an era of profound competition, technological ingenuity, and unforgettable heroes who reshaped the racing landscape. This decade would become known for its American dominance, driven by fearless riders whose aggressive style and relentless determination electrified audiences around the globe. Leading the charge was the charismatic Kenny Roberts, whose revolutionary riding techniques continued to redefine the sport. Roberts had already made history in the late 1970s, but his legacy would truly blossom in the 1980s. His aggressive cornering, throttle control, and daring maneuvers became textbook examples for aspiring racers. He not only inspired fans, but also paved the way for a generation of talented American riders ready to take MotoGP by storm. Among Roberts' successors was Freddie Spencer, a young prodigy whose remarkable talent and versatility quickly captured the attention of the racing world. Known as Fast Freddie, Spencer became famous for his extraordinary ability to handle high-powered, temperamental motorcycles with remarkable precision. In an unprecedented feat, Spencer won world championships in 2 different classes during the same season in 1985, a record-breaking accomplishment showcasing both skill and stamina. The American invasion continued with the likes of Eddie Lawson and Wayne Rainey, both fierce competitors whose relentless pursuit of victory elevated the sport's competitive intensity. Lawson, known for his consistency and meticulous approach to racing, claimed multiple world titles, demonstrating the importance of precision, strategy, and mental strength in the high-stakes world of MotoGP. Rainey, on the other hand, was known for his aggressive yet calculated style, pushing the limits while maintaining remarkable control. His battles with Lawson became legendary, captivating audiences and further solidifying the rivalry between American riders. These epic duels not only raised the profile of MotoGP but also showcased the evolution of racing strategy and technology. Technological advancement continued to be a defining theme of the 1980s. Motorcycle manufacturers tirelessly innovated, striving for lighter, faster, and more responsive machines. This era saw the fine-tuning of powerful 2-stroke engines, advanced suspension systems, and significant improvements in tire technology, allowing riders to push their motorcycles harder and faster than ever before. However, with greater speeds and daring maneuvers came increased risk. The decade was not without its tragic moments, prompting a stronger emphasis on safety measures. Incremental improvements in track safety, protective gear, and medical response protocols began to shape a safer racing environment, albeit slowly. These changes, though subtle at first, laid the groundwork for significant advancements in rider safety in the decades that followed. Outside the track, MotoGP's popularity soared globally, driven by extensive television coverage, sponsorship, and growing commercial opportunities. Riders became international superstars, their lives chronicled by media outlets around the world. The sport's burgeoning global appeal attracted new fans, sponsors, and investors, ensuring its continued growth and international prominence. As the 1980s progressed, it became clear that MotoGP was transforming yet again. This was a decade defined by speed, innovation, American dominance, and heroic riders who captured the hearts and imaginations of fans everywhere. Yet even as these legendary battles and triumphs unfolded, new challengers and rising stars waited in the wings, ready to write their own chapters in MotoGP's ongoing saga. 1990s. Rivalries, resilience, and the rise of legends. As MotoGP thundered into the 1990s, the echoes of American dominance still reverberated throughout the racing world. But change was on the horizon, and a dynamic new era was dawning. An era filled with intense rivalries, remarkable comebacks, and the rise of legends whose names would become synonymous with racing greatness. The early 1990s showcased a rivalry so fierce, so captivating, it would be etched permanently into motorsport folklore. Wayne Rainey, the determined Californian known for his laser-focused intensity, and Kevin Schwantz, a Texan with an explosive and fearless riding style, would battle relentlessly, race after race, pushing themselves and each other to unprecedented levels. Rainey, piloting his Yamaha with calculated precision, was the picture of consistency, often winning through strategic brilliance and masterful control. Schwantz, aboard his Suzuki, was a stark contrast, a rider who believed wholeheartedly in the thrill of risk, often pushing his machine to the brink of disaster to snatch victory. Their opposing styles transformed every Grand Prix into a spectacle, compelling fans to choose sides as they watched this electrifying clash of personalities and philosophies unfold. Throughout the early part of the decade, their rivalry was marked by mutual respect, yet intense competition. Every corner, every pass, and every finish line was a personal battle, a relentless duel not just for the championship, but for a place in history. In 1993, however, tragedy would forever alter the course of this iconic rivalry. At Misano, during the Italian Grand Prix, Wayne Rainey suffered a devastating crash, leaving him paralyzed and ending his career in an instant. It was a heartbreaking moment for the entire motorsport world, a stark reminder of the thin line between triumph and tragedy in MotoGP. Yet Rainey's spirit would remain unbroken. His courage and resilience off the track inspired not only his peers, but future generations of racers. Schwantz, profoundly affected by his rival's accident, honored Rainey with continued excellence, finally achieving his own world title shortly thereafter, cementing his legacy while paying tribute to a competitor and friend. The shifting sands of MotoGP's landscape also saw the emergence of a new dominant figure, Australia's Mick Doohan. Riding for Honda, Doohan was a rider of almost superhuman determination. Having faced his own severe injuries in the early 1990s, many thought his career would be cut short. But in an astonishing display of determination, Doohan returned stronger, more resilient, and hungrier than ever. From 1994 to 1998, he dominated the 500cc category, securing 5 consecutive world championships and redefining the meaning of perseverance. Doohan's riding was characterized by brute strength and sheer willpower. His aggressive, uncompromising approach made him nearly unbeatable. Opponents feared his intensity and respected his unyielding drive, setting a new standard for MotoGP dominance. His rivalry with riders like Alex Crivillé added intrigue and drama to each race weekend, though Doohan often emerged victorious, an undisputed titan in a fiercely competitive era. Technological evolution accelerated in tandem with these fierce rivalries. The 1990s brought groundbreaking advances in motorcycle engineering, particularly in electronics and tire technology. Advanced telemetry systems allowed teams to monitor bike performance in real time, fine-tuning machines to unprecedented precision. Bridgestone and Michelin waged their own private war, pushing each other to innovate tires capable of handling ever-increasing speeds, cornering forces, and stresses, dramatically reshaping the sport. With these advancements came the realization of increased speeds and greater risks, prompting MotoGP's governing bodies to prioritize safety as never before. Circuits underwent significant renovations, implementing gravel traps, improved barriers, and better runoff areas, considerably reducing dangers riders faced. Protective gear took quantum leaps forward, with high-tech leathers, reinforced helmets, and innovative safety equipment designed to minimize injury and crashes that remained all too frequent. As the decade advanced, MotoGP also witnessed crucial changes off the track. Global television broadcasts, increasingly sophisticated marketing, and corporate sponsorship transformed MotoGP into an international spectacle. Riders became celebrities. Household names celebrated beyond motorsport circles, amplifying the sport's worldwide appeal. While American riders still played a significant role, the European talent pipeline was burgeoning. Young riders from Italy and Spain, particularly, began emerging prominently on the global stage. Names like Max Biaggi, a charismatic yet controversial figure known as the Roman Emperor, began capturing fans' imaginations, creating headlines both on and off the track. But perhaps the most significant figure to rise from this wave of new talent emerged quietly at first, a charismatic Italian named Valentino Rossi. Initially competing in lower categories and capturing titles in the late 90s, Rossi's magnetic personality, playful showmanship, and undeniable talent hinted at a future icon. His flair on the motorcycle, coupled with a natural charisma off it, promised a spectacular career to come. Fans worldwide began noticing Rossi, drawn by his youthful exuberance and fearless riding style. Even seasoned veterans watched carefully, sensing the seismic shift he might soon cause. With Rossi's arrival, MotoGP stood on the cusp of a new era, an era where charisma, talent, and ambition would blend to create an entirely new kind of superstar. As the curtain began to fall in the 1990s, MotoGP was poised at a fascinating crossroads. The battles between Rainey, Schwantz, and Duhan had shaped the decade, redefining the sport through their rivalries, resilience, and determination. Technological leaps had pushed motorcycles to new extremes, enhancing both performance and safety. Global media coverage had elevated riders to stardom, capturing hearts around the world. Yet, as compelling as the decade had been, an unmistakable sense lingered in the paddock. The greatest chapters in MotoGP's story were yet to be written. A young generation stood ready in the wings, eager to seize their moment in the spotlight, setting the stage for an electrifying entrance into the new millennium. 2000s, Rossi's reign, revolutionary changes, and rising stars. As MotoGP roared into the 21st century, it entered one of its most dynamic and transformative periods, characterized by revolutionary technological changes, explosive global growth, and the emergence of perhaps the most beloved racing icon of all time, Valentino Rossi. At the heart of the early 2000s stood the smiling, charismatic Italian rider Rossi, who had already captivated the racing community with his flamboyant celebrations and extraordinary talent. Known affectionately to millions around the globe as the Doctor, Rossi carried with him not only remarkable skill, but a contagious joy for racing that revitalized and expanded MotoGP's fan base. Valentino Rossi's move into the Premier class coincided with one of the biggest rule changes in the sport's history. In 2002, the traditional 500cc two-stroke machines that had long dominated MotoGP racing were replaced with powerful, roaring 990cc four-stroke prototypes. These new motorcycles brought with them an exciting blend of brute power, advanced electronics, and technological sophistication. Rossi immediately adapted to the new class, claiming the inaugural 990cc championship in dominant fashion aboard his factory Honda RC211V. This era marked Rossi's initial period of overwhelming supremacy. Between 2001 and 2005, he secured 5 consecutive championships, showcasing a rare combination of consistency, courage, and unrelenting competitiveness. Rossi's colorful personality, playful victory celebrations, humorous antics, and cheeky battles of wits with rivals added an unprecedented level of charisma and accessibility to the sport. This charm helped bridge the gap between casual viewers and hardcore enthusiasts, creating a new global wave of MotoGP followers. But Rossi was not alone in shaping the narrative of the 2000s. Rivalries became one of the defining characteristics of this era. The early battles between Rossi and his fierce Italian compatriot Max Biaggi quickly escalated from track confrontations to heated exchanges in press conferences, capturing the imagination of fans worldwide. Biaggi, known as the Roman Emperor, was no stranger to controversy, and his aggressive style provided the perfect foil for Rossi's more playful yet equally determined approach. One of their most famous confrontations occurred at the 2001 Catalan Grand Prix, where a heated post-race argument nearly descended into blows. This personal and passionate rivalry injected the sport with genuine drama, enhancing its worldwide popularity. However, Rossi's relentless talent eventually prevailed, and by the mid-2000s, Biaggi moved away from the MotoGP stage, leaving Rossi undisputedly at the top. Yet, as Biaggi exited the spotlight, new challengers emerged, each one determined to dethrone the Doctor. The Spanish rider Sete Gibernau became Rossi's next formidable adversary, pushing him to the limits in several heart-stopping races. Their rivalry intensified dramatically in 2004 at the now legendary Qatar Grand Prix. Rossi and his team were penalized for altering his starting position, causing him to start from the back of the grid. Rossi blamed Gibernau and his team for reporting the infringement, vowing publicly that Gibernau would never win another race, a prediction that hauntingly proved accurate. The tension between Rossi and Gibernau peaked in 2005 at the Spanish Grand Prix in Jerez, with the two riders dramatically colliding on the final corner. Rossi emerged victorious in that controversial finish, further fueling their fierce competition. The dynamic battles between these riders elevated MotoGP's appeal, ensuring every race was a must-watch spectacle. Meanwhile, behind these gripping rivalries, the MotoGP landscape was being reshaped by groundbreaking technological advancements. Electronic systems took giant leaps forward as traction control, anti-wheelie, and advanced telemetry dramatically changed racing dynamics. Motorcycle engineers, tirelessly working behind the scenes, pushed boundaries further than ever before. Factories like Yamaha, Honda, Ducati, Suzuki, and Kawasaki invested heavily, each seeking an edge in performance. Rossi's shock move from Honda to Yamaha in 2004 became one of the most talked about decisions of the decade. At the time, Yamaha was struggling to match Honda's dominant pace, and Rossi's decision to join them was seen as both bold and risky. Yet, against all odds, Rossi transformed Yamaha into a championship-winning team almost overnight, clinching a historic title in his first season aboard the Yamaha YZR M1. This remarkable triumph underscored Rossi's skill, adaptability, and determination, marking him as a true racing legend. However, the Rossi phenomenon wasn't merely about raw talent or championship trophies. He fundamentally changed how MotoGP engaged with its audience. His appeal transcended racing. It captured popular culture. Rossi's iconic number 46 and his trademark bright yellow colors became instantly recognizable worldwide. Merchandise sales skyrocketed, attendance at races reached unprecedented highs, and television audiences expanded into new territories. MotoGP was now a global spectacle, driven largely by Rossi's magnetic star power. As the decade progressed, new heroes emerged from Rossi's shadow, shaping their own legacies. American rider Nicky Hayden, known affectionately as the Kentucky Kid, clinched the 2006 World Championship in dramatic circumstances, edging out Rossi in the final round in Valencia, a race that saw Rossi crash uncharacteristically under pressure. Hayden's emotional triumph symbolized a shift, albeit brief, in the MotoGP balance of power. Yet perhaps the most spectacular rise came from the young Australian rider Casey Stoner. Bursting onto the scene with Ducati in 2007, Stoner immediately stunned the world. His remarkable control of Ducati's notoriously difficult Desmosedici GP7 earned him instant admiration. Stoner's raw speed, fearless approach, and relentless precision secured Ducati their first ever MotoGP World Championship, a milestone moment for the iconic Italian brand. Stoner's rivalry with Rossi became yet another focal point of the sport. Their on-track confrontations, particularly their famous duel at Laguna Seca in 2008, showcased both their brilliance and intensity. The battle that day remains etched in MotoGP history, with Rossi's daring and controversial pass through Laguna's iconic corkscrew corner symbolizing their competitive ferocity. Alongside racing battles and technological leaps, safety remained a critical issue in this decade. The tragic death of Japanese rider Daijiro Kato at Suzuka in 2003 was a painful reminder of the inherent dangers still present in the sport. As a result, safety initiatives accelerated rapidly. Racetracks saw significant improvements in runoff areas, safety barriers, and overall track design. Rider equipment evolved dramatically, with advanced helmets, racing suits featuring airbag technology, and new medical protocols ensuring swift, effective responses to accidents. Financially, MotoGP experienced a golden age. Commercial sponsorships multiplied, television rights soared in value, and the paddock became a vibrant hub of marketing activity. The arrival of new races outside Europe, notably in Qatar, featuring the first-ever night race at Losail, highlighted MotoGP's ambitious global expansion strategy, further solidifying its status as a truly international sport. Amidst these revolutionary changes, Rossi's dominance gradually came under increasing pressure. His rivals were stronger, younger, and hungrier. Jorge Lorenzo, Dani Pedrosa, and Casey Stoner represented a new, formidable generation, each capable of dethroning the established king. As the first decade of the new millennium drew to a close, MotoGP stood at yet another thrilling crossroads, marked by growing competition, ongoing technological innovation, and the enduring presence of a legend whose reign, for the first time, appeared uncertain. 2010s, Marquez and MotoGP's new era. As MotoGP entered the second decade of the 21st century, a wave of fresh talent surged forward, setting the stage for one of the most thrilling and transformative periods in the sport's history. If the 2000s had been defined largely by Valentino Rossi's legendary reign, the 2010 brought a seismic shift, introducing new stars, redefining technology, and transforming the global landscape of motorcycle racing. At the very heart of this decade was one rider whose sheer brilliance, audacious riding style, and fearless determination changed the face of MotoGP forever: Marc Marquez. The young Spaniard burst onto the MotoGP scene in 2013 with a relentless drive that immediately captured the attention of the racing world. At just 20 years old, Marquez joined the elite ranks of the Repsol Honda team, becoming teammates with seasoned rider Dani Pedrosa. Few could have anticipated the profound impact Marquez would have right from the start. His aggressive riding style, characterized by gravity-defying lean angles, seemingly impossible saves, and daring overtakes, marked him as a revolutionary figure, someone destined to rewrite MotoGP's record books. Marc Marquez's debut season was nothing short of extraordinary. In his first race at Qatar, he finished on the podium, signaling his arrival as a genuine championship contender. As the season progressed, fans witnessed something historic unfold. Marquez quickly adapted to the powerful 1000cc MotoGP machines, dominating tracks he had never raced on before in the Premier class. His fearless approach and ability to push the Honda RC2 13V beyond known limits left veterans stunned and competitors scrambling to match his pace. By the end of his rookie season, Marquez had shattered numerous records, becoming the youngest rider ever to win a MotoGP race and ultimately securing the World Championship, making him the youngest ever Premier Class champion in the sport's history. In doing so, he toppled Freddie Spencer's long-standing record, showcasing a talent capable of rewriting motorcycle racing history. This extraordinary debut set a new standard for future rookies and redefined what fans could expect from young talent entering MotoGP. However, Marquez's rise didn't simply herald a new dominant rider, it reshaped rivalries within the sport. His arrival reignited the competitive flames within veterans, such as Jorge Lorenzo, Dani Pedrosa, and most notably, Valentino Rossi, who, despite his advancing age, still possessed the drive and passion to challenge for championships. Rossi and Marquez's rivalry rapidly intensified, peaking dramatically in the unforgettable 2015 season. The 2015 MotoGP season remains etched into the memories of racing enthusiasts worldwide due to its sheer drama, controversy, and intense competition. Rossi, rejuvenated and hungry for his 10th title, faced off directly against Marquez and his Yamaha teammate Jorge Lorenzo. Tensions escalated throughout the year, culminating in an infamous clash at Sepang, Malaysia. The confrontation saw Rossi accused of deliberately causing Marquez to crash, resulting in a contentious penalty that forced Rossi to start from the back of the grid in the decisive final race at Valencia. The controversy ignited passionate debate among fans, splitting loyalties and elevating the rivalry between Marquez and Rossi to new heights. Ultimately, Lorenzo claimed the championship, but the bitterness and controversy surrounding the season lingered for years. While rider rivalries captivated audiences, MotoGP continued to evolve technologically at an unprecedented pace. The 2010s saw the introduction and refinement of advanced electronic rider aids. In 2016, MotoGP organizers standardized ECU software across all teams, a groundbreaking decision aimed at leveling the playing field. Although initially controversial, this change forced teams and manufacturers to focus more intently on mechanical innovation and chassis development, ultimately creating a more competitive environment and resulting in some of the closest racing ever witnessed. Additionally, the aerodynamic arms race became a defining theme of the decade. Teams increasingly experimented with aerodynamics, notably introducing winglets, small aerodynamic surfaces designed to increase downforce. Ducati spearheaded this evolution, prompting other manufacturers to respond rapidly with their own aerodynamic innovations. The subsequent escalation in aerodynamics dramatically reshaped MotoGP bikes, adding visual intrigue and significantly influencing riding style and bike handling characteristics. Riders had to adapt swiftly to these aerodynamic advancements, continually redefining the limits of speed, cornering, and performance. The 2010s also brought considerable advancements in safety measures, crucially influenced by an increasing awareness of the dangers riders faced. MotoGP witnessed several tragic incidents in the lower classes, notably the heartbreaking loss of the immensely talented Marco Simoncelli in 2011 at the Sepang circuit. A devastating reminder of the inherent risks in motorsport. In response, MotoGP and circuit organizers took decisive action, implementing stricter safety regulations, improving runoff areas, and enhancing medical facilities and emergency response capabilities. Rider protective gear saw further refinements, with airbag suits becoming standard, drastically reducing serious injuries in high-speed crashes. Meanwhile, off-track, MotoGP expanded dramatically on a global scale. Under the commercial guidance of promoter Dorna Sports, the championship reached new international audiences, thanks largely to innovative television coverage, digital streaming, and an extensive social media presence. These strategies attracted younger generations, firmly establishing MotoGP as one of the most popular motorsports globally. New circuits such as the Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, joined the calendar, illustrating the championship's strategic ambition for international growth, particularly in the United States and Asia. Yet, despite the broadening global profile, the heart of MotoGP remained firmly rooted in Europe, particularly in Spain and Italy, where enthusiasm for motorcycle racing reached unprecedented heights. Massive crowds attended races at legendary circuits like Mugello, Catalunya, and Misano, drawn by the magnetic appeal of heroes like Marquez and Rossi, whose personal duel had become the defining narrative of the decade. In terms of team competitiveness, the 2010s witnessed remarkable variety. While Honda and Yamaha continued to dominate early in the decade, Ducati made dramatic strides in competitiveness, thanks largely to technical genius Gigi Dall'Igna, whose engineering vision transformed the Italian marque into a regular race winner. Suzuki also returned strongly to MotoGP, securing memorable victories and podiums, notably with young talent Maverick Viñales, showcasing the diverse and intensely competitive nature of the sport. Through all these advancements, Marc Marquez remained a central protagonist. After his remarkable rookie triumph, Marquez cemented his status by clinching further championships in 2014, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, establishing himself unequivocally as the era's dominant figure. His daring, often seemingly reckless saves, in which he somehow managed to regain control after losing grip completely, became legendary. Rivals openly admitted struggling to match Marquez's combination of raw speed, aggression, and extraordinary bike control, positioning him in conversations alongside the greatest riders in the sport's storied history. However, the Marquez era was not without setbacks. He suffered occasional crashes due to his relentless pursuit of the limit, and his willingness to risk everything sometimes proved costly. Yet his resilience, his unwavering determination to push through injuries and setbacks, only increased admiration among fans and competitors alike, further solidifying his legacy as an icon of relentless ambition. While Marquez's dominance defined much of the decade, it also inspired younger talents to emulate and challenge him. Riders such as Fabio Quartararo, Franco Morbidelli, Alex Rins, and Joan Mir began emerging toward the end of the decade, signaling the approaching arrival of yet another new generation ready to confront MotoGP's established stars. Throughout the 2010s, MotoGP witnessed a captivating blend of legendary rivalries, groundbreaking technological innovation, increased global presence, and enhanced safety protocols, all factors contributing to its ever-growing popularity. At the decade's end, the stage was set for yet another transformative shift, driven by a new wave of fearless, ambitious riders eager to carve out their own place in history, and by technology continuing to evolve rapidly in response to ever-intensifying competition. The 2010s solidified MotoGP's status not merely as motorsport, but as a cultural phenomenon, driven by personalities like Marquez and Rossi, defined by thrilling competition and characterized by an endless pursuit of excellence. As the decade approached its conclusion, the sport stood on the brink of another era, filled with questions and thrilling possibilities. Could Marquez's dominance continue, or would the new generation finally break through? The answers lay tantalizingly just beyond the horizon, waiting to be revealed. 2000s, chaos, comebacks, and new stars. The 2020 season unfolded under circumstances previously unimaginable. Just as riders and teams prepared for another electrifying battle, the global COVID-19 pandemic dramatically reshaped the entire sporting landscape. What was originally planned as a full calendar quickly disintegrated into uncertainty, with race cancellations, empty grandstands, and a compressed schedule unlike anything previously seen. Amid this chaos, the very fabric of MotoGP was tested like never before. Yet, from disruption emerged an extraordinary and unpredictable season. The reigning champion Marc Marquez, widely expected to dominate again, crashed severely during the opening round at Jerez, sustaining a devastating arm injury that sidelined him indefinitely. This singular event threw the championship wide open and marked the beginning of a new era. A time when uncertainty reigned and underdogs seized their moments of glory. In Marquez's absence, a thrilling battle for supremacy erupted, reshaping the established order of the sport. Suddenly, riders once considered outsiders stepped into the limelight. Fabio Quartararo, the French sensation known for his fearless, flamboyant riding, quickly became an early favorite. Riding for Petronas Yamaha, Quartararo's back-to-back victories in Jerez marked him as a potential successor to Rossi's legacy at Yamaha. However, consistency would prove his biggest adversary, with pressures of expectation weighing heavily on the young Frenchman. Meanwhile, veteran Andrea Dovizioso and Ducati, regular contenders who had frequently challenged Marquez in previous seasons, struggled to capitalize fully on the unexpected opportunity. Amid internal disputes, contract negotiations, and mounting tensions, Ducati's title ambitions faltered, highlighting how quickly fortunes could shift in MotoGP's fiercely competitive environment. Instead, it was Suzuki, often viewed as steady but not spectacular, who emerged from the chaos stronger than ever. Joan Mir, a talented but largely underestimated rider, seized the moment. Demonstrating extraordinary consistency, Mir transformed himself from an outside challenger into a genuine title contender. His calm, calculated approach contrasted sharply with the more aggressive style of Quartararo and Maverick Viñales. Mir's steady accumulation of points culminated in him clinching the World Championship, becoming Suzuki's first MotoGP World Champion since Kenny Roberts Jr. in 2000. Mir's championship victory was emblematic of the era, unpredictable, remarkable, and achieved amid extraordinary circumstances. It was a poignant reminder that consistency, calmness, and calculated risks could outshine even the brightest sparks of raw talent. His triumph marked a seismic shift in MotoGP's landscape, hinting at a decade likely defined more by collective competition than singular dominance. Yet, as thrilling as the championship race was, drama also unfolded off-track, bringing unprecedented emotional intensity to MotoGP. The legendary Valentino Rossi, arguably the sport's greatest icon, announced he would leave the factory Yamaha team at the end of 2020. This decision signaled the end of an era and ignited emotional debate among fans worldwide. Rossi's move to the satellite Petronas Yamaha team for 2021 was viewed as a symbolic passing of the torch, a bittersweet recognition of the relentless march of time. However, the 2021 season offered Rossi little respite. As younger riders surged forward, the Doctor struggled to recapture former glories, leading him toward one of the most emotional and reflective periods of his remarkable career. Fans watched with admiration and nostalgia, keenly aware they were witnessing the final chapters of a legendary story. Amid Rossi's struggles, new stars rose rapidly to prominence. In 2021, Fabio Quartararo finally found the consistency he had previously lacked, clinching his first MotoGP World Championship and becoming France's first ever Premier Class champion. Quartararo's triumph represented a profound moment for French motorsport and was hailed as the dawn of a new era. His charismatic personality, fearless riding, and passionate celebrations endeared him to fans worldwide, cementing his status as a global star. Quartararo's ascension coincided with the emergence of fierce new rivalries. The competitive intensity among Yamaha, Ducati, and Suzuki heightened dramatically, creating enthralling battles every race weekend. Francesco Pecco Bagnaia, a gifted Italian riding for Ducati, became Quartararo's closest challenger. Bagnaia, once a protege of Rossi, carried immense expectation and pressure as Italy's next great MotoGP hope. His spectacular battles with Quartararo intensified throughout the season, creating thrilling duels reminiscent of the sport's classic rivalries. Bagnaia's resilience, fierce competitiveness, and stunning late-season form quickly elevated him to superstar status. His daring overtakes and strategic brilliance electrified audiences, turning races into heart-stopping spectacles. Each confrontation between Quartararo and Bagnaia was marked by mutual respect but fierce determination, echoing the legendary duels of Rossi versus Biaggi or Schwantz versus Rainey from previous eras. Meanwhile, Marc Marquez, the dominant figure of the previous decade, faced a monumental battle of his own. His injury in 2020 and subsequent complications had raised questions about his future. Yet, true to his fearless character, Marquez fought relentlessly to regain his position at the pinnacle of MotoGP. His emotional comeback victory at the Sachsenring in 2021, his first since injury, was a testament to human determination and resilience, eliciting powerful emotions from even his fiercest rivals. Marquez's journey underscored the very essence of MotoGP, an uncompromising battle against adversity, physical limitations, and mental barriers. Technological innovation also continued rapidly, with manufacturers pushing boundaries to find competitive advantages. Aerodynamic enhancements, advanced electronics, and innovative suspension systems became critical factors shaping performance. Ducati's continuous exploration of aerodynamic devices, particularly the controversial but effective front and rear ride height adjustment devices, forced rivals to respond urgently. This escalating arms race underscored the sport's relentless pursuit of marginal gains, emphasizing innovation's critical role in shaping modern MotoGP racing. Off-track, MotoGP navigated complex challenges. The sport adapted quickly to changing global conditions, demonstrating flexibility by implementing double-header races, strict health protocols, and revised calendars. Promoters and organizers displayed remarkable adaptability, successfully preserving the sport's popularity despite logistical hurdles. Yet, amid success, MotoGP faced profound tragedies as well. The heartbreaking loss of young Swiss Moto3 rider Jason Dupasquier in 2021 and Moto3 rider Dean Berta Viñales later that year provided painful reminders of racing's inherent risks. These tragedies reignited passionate debates around safety, prompting renewed commitments to further enhancements in protective equipment, rider education, and track safety measures. Simultaneously, the expansion of MotoGP into new territories showcased the sport's ambition to remain globally relevant. Races in countries like Indonesia underscored a strategic vision aimed at tapping into passionate new fan bases, ensuring MotoGP's continued growth beyond its European heartlands. As the 2000s unfolded, MotoGP stood on the edge of a thrilling unknown, an era marked equally by turbulence and transformation. Each race weekend seemed to offer new dramas, rivalries, heroes, and heartbreaks, capturing millions worldwide. The relentless intensity of Quartararo and Bagnaya's duels, Marquez's courageous comeback journey, Rossi's emotional farewell, and the emergence of young, fearless riders all shaped an electrifying decade, creating unforgettable narratives that resonated deeply with fans. Yet, even as fans celebrated new heroes and marveled at evolving rivalries, an unmistakable sense lingered. The full story of the 2020s remained unfinished. With each passing season, MotoGP continued to evolve, its drama, passion, and intensity never ceasing, hinting that even greater battles lay just beyond the horizon. The next chapters promised even more compelling storylines, new rivalries, and unforeseen heroes ready to etch their names into history.